Hello. Just gonna test some audio very, very quickly. There. Gonna test the audio real quickly. It sounds fine. It should be fine. It should be pretty good for the most part. Just gonna give a second, just see what our balance is once this new song starts up. And then we are going to have some fun talking about my spring TBR. I'm actually really excited. I already have some of these books. Yeah, that's fine. I actually already have some of these books like started. I'm so excited. I'm just excited. I'm very excited for my spring TBR. This is just an overview down at the bottom here. This is just an overview. Like you can see on the left, that was my Book Out Cookout TBR, my TBR for Black History Month. And then over here on the right, this is the current TBR that we're going to be getting into really quickly. I'm super excited. To start, we want to touch on books that I will be continuing. Yeah, we'll do this first. Books that I'm going to be continuing reading over the next, it's going to be like 3 months. So this is my spring, for the spring quarter. So like January, February, March, April, May, June. I didn't need to figure that out. I didn't need to go through all the ones to figure that out. It's fine. My cats are all being very suspicious right now. So if I have to get up, oh, you're just kneading on the yoga mat, you're just destroying the yoga mat, that's fine. They're lucky, they're cute, that's all I can say. Let's go over the books that I will be continuing reading. So these are books that I am in the middle of right now, and I will be finishing up, hopefully finishing. And one of them I know for a fact I'm not going to finish, but that's just because it is almost a textbook, and it is an emotionally intensive textbook. And so I would like to finish it by the end of the year, but I'm not going to hold myself to the expectation of finishing it anytime soon. But let's go through the books that these are books I've already started and will be finishing, hopefully. This is the African American Poetry Collection. That is, let me actually zoom in just a little bit more. This is the African American Poetry Collection. I started this in Black History Month. I'm approximately halfway through it. It's just dense. It's also not like poetry I'm really like connecting with a lot of it. That's also kind of a give and take with an anthology, because this is an anthology of several different poets, and that's kind of what I expect from any anthology. But I am finding poets that I would like to read more of going forward. Babel, God, I hope I finish Babel this fucking quarter. It's just dense. It's one of those things of like, it's a 600-page book, but also it's making me realize like 600 pages of this versus like 600 pages of some other authors, not the same fucking thing. Yeah, this book, dense. I'm obsessed with it. Honestly, I feel like this is not only like a book that is perfect for me as someone who is very much obsessed with language, obsessed with words, writing, word choice, word play. Perfect like plot for me, but also like my where I am mentally in my own decolonial journey. I feel like I picked this up at the perfect time, but that also means that I'm crying at work sometimes. So I am also, I think, a little bit more than halfway through this, but again, would like to finish it throughout the quarter. This is the textbook, Decolonizing Therapy. This one, for sure, crying every time I pick it up. So we're going through this real slow, but hopefully we'll pick up I don't even know if I'll pick up the pace, but hopefully we'll actually make some progress. That's the hope. That's the goal. And then the last one is the most recent start. It is the 5th book of the Diana Flower series. It's been like 2 years. I read the first 4 books of this series in like one shot, all in 1 year, and it's been 2 years since I've picked it up because just shit's been getting in the way. I think I picked this book up. This was one of the first like things I got when I started getting into reading again, but I got it prior to me like figuring out like library and figuring out how and what with regards to getting books from the library. And so, is someone in the window? I think a cat's in the window. Yeah, cat was in the window. But this was prior to me figuring out about Libby and being able to check out ebooks from the library. And once I started being able to do that, I started getting really into checking out books from the library. And then last year we had the fucking Archipalooza, and so that pushed me back from being able to read most anything. And now I want to finish it. I just want to finish this goddamn series, please, God. Okay, so those are the 4 books, and I recently started this, but it's short and sweet. I should certainly be able to finish this. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm able to finish it in the month, let alone the quarter. But those are the 4 books that I'm currently in the middle of that I would like to finish reading. Now, going forward are going to be the books on my TBR, my spring TBR. I'm a slow reader. That's why we're doing a TBR for the full quarter. I'm a slow reader. I'm not going to read most of these books. But the thing I want to do with the TBR, because I really liked doing it, I did just random prompts. I did some randomized prompts that I found on some randomizers online. There's a bunch of them now. I did randomized prompts, and it was a nice way to relook at my own library, my own ebook library, relook at that, and really just fall in love and get excited for a lot of books that have fallen to the side, fallen behind in my library. And so I really liked doing that during the book out cookout, and so I wanted to do it again as a regular thing. So I'm regularly just looking through my library with fresh eyes, and because one of these books I'm so excited to pick up again because of being able to look at it and think about it again from this from the TBRs and from the prompts on here. And so I really want to keep doing that, so that way I am constantly picking at the things that I own and constantly looking at the things that I own. I also did some of these, I did pick from my lists and stuff on my Libby app. I have different lists and collections, and I kind of filtered through some of those. So I think we'll go through at the end, because one of my goals for this year and going forward is to be more conscientious of reading books that I own. And with that, I own a lot of indie books. I probably own primarily indie books. And so with that is going to be my, hold on, really quick, 2 seconds. I just realized. Rude. We'll deal with that in a second. But with that, I own a lot of indie books, so by prioritizing books that I own, I will be helping to prioritize indie books, though I do want to keep both of those actively in mind as we go through the reading. So we'll double check through here at the end to see how many of these are books I already own, how many of these are books that are indie, stuff like that. On to the very first prompt. These are books I selected with my eyes closed. So I literally went to one of my Libby collections, scroll, picked 2, and I'm not gonna lie, these books are going to be at the bottom of my TBR. These are the ones I'm really not super interested in looking at, but it's again, interesting being reminded of their existence. So you've got Everfair by Nisi Shaw. I don't know, I'm just not drawn to it right now. It is an alt history book, but I am currently in a mindset where I'm far more interested in actual historical fiction. I'm far more interested in nonfiction right now. And so that feels like it's just not where my mind and where my spirit are right now. The other one is Nosferatu. It's horror, and I've heard great things about it. It's horror. I'm a baby with horror. I'm a chicken, and there's another horror that I did put on here, but I'm just significantly more excited for that. And I think there are 2 actually. I'm just significantly more excited for those. And I feel like picking horror that I am genuinely excited for is a better way to get me introduced to the genre, get me comfortable in the genre than one I've heard some good things about, but I don't feel extremely drawn to right now. So these 2 books, this might be the last you ever hear about them for a while. It's fine. We've got 2 books with a 5-word title is the next prompt. Godzilla and Godzilla Raids Again was immediate choice. Because again, after even just the Godzilla -1 trailers, I've connected with those trailers more than I've connected with most things recently in like the past year or so, and the movie was phenomenal. I am waiting for it to come on DVD. I'm hoping, because I'm 99% sure that the Japanese DVD release came with a black and white version too. I'm hoping the US release also gets that, but I'm waiting for it to come on DVD because I can't wait to watch it again. I'm so glad we got a chance to watch it. I'm so glad we got to watch it in theaters, and it was an empty theater, so we were masked. We were like on our own in our own bubble. It was great. But yeah, I can't wait, and I've been very, very much wanting to not only like read more Godzilla, learn more about Godzilla, but also learn more about art that came out of World War II in Japan. But yeah, so that was a book I've been very excited for. I actually pre-ordered that, Godzilla and Godzilla Raids Again. Next is Tell Me How It Ends by Quentin Lee. This was a very popular book going around the indie circles, and Quentin also edits one of my favorite book series, which is the Catastrophe Incoming series, and so I'm very curious. I've been very curious. The cover is absolutely gorgeous. I really want to like look in, touch in on this book and see what it's like. What's everyone talking about it? Is everyone like? I'm sure the hype is real for it. It's just I want to experience it myself. Moving on, next prompt, a book featuring something I would like to do. I saw this and I had one train of thought, and so the first book was House of Badui, because by Why Choose. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw that title. And this was a book that I also pre-ordered this book, and I've had it I feel like I've had it for a few years, and I'm actually, this is the one that I'm like so excited to pick up now that I've like kind of looked back in on it. And so this is probably after I finish either Diana Flowers or Babel, I'm going to be reading this book. I'm very, very excited. So this is for sure something I'm going to end up getting around to. The next one is Ana y Carol, Agencia de Detectives. Is it Detectives or Detectivas, or well, should it be? But I have this collection of Spanish children's book, and I picked it because I want to read more in Spanish, and I need to read at a lower level than I keep grabbing. So we're looking at some Spanish kids books. I also do have some other books, but some other stuff in Spanish, but we'll look at that more next TBR, because August is fucking ideally going to be my Spanish reading month this year. That's what it was supposed to be. Moving on, books based on a true story. We've got Minor Detail, which is another book I've been very, very, very much wanting to read. It is a tale about Palestine. I believe it's about a woman who gets raped and is abused in the like horrors and whatnot of Palestine, and the occupation. And there's a journalist. The fictional part is a journalist following this story that is treated as just a minor detail of the occupational history and of the occupational abuse. But she wants to learn more about this woman, about the culture, about what like these types of things mean to the people there. I really, really, really want to read it. I have it on hold at the library, and let me be honest with you, holds stress me the fuck out to no end. But we have it on hold. We're hoping we can get to it within this quarter. I don't know when the hold will get up though, but that is something I very much want to read. The other one is They Called Us Enemy, the extended edition. I do have access to the extended edition. It's on Hoopla, actually. The extended edition is on Hoopla. And this is another one that I really, really want to read. It is another story like around the history of Japan in World War II. This is a thing specifically around the internment camps that the US had. And so that was something that's another one I think I'll likely pick this up. This is a graphic novel. I don't know how long, but I think I'll likely end up picking this up. Next prompt was poetry, and I've been wanting to get more into poetry and explore more poetry for a hot minute now. Because I myself am a poet, and I read Rachel Wiley was it a few years ago, or was it last year? That's a good question that I don't have the answer to. But I read a Rachel Wiley poetry book, and I was obsessed with it, and I want to read more poetry. So we have Content Warning Everything by Akwaeke Emezi. That would be my first Akwaeke book. So that is one I'm very interested in. And the other poetry is Pierced by Horn, which is an indie poetry collection. I've owned this for a hot minute. I started a while ago. I just didn't end up finishing it. Cats are destroying my room again. But like once I finish the African American poetry collection, this is the one I know I want to pick up, because I want to finish it, give reviews, and support the indie poetry book. Yeah. So these are our poetry. Next were books with a one-word title, and I'm gonna be honest, this one was actually kind of difficult. One-word title was a little difficult to find. I have Starseer, which I had this as an arc, and I've had it. Okay, this one I've had for about a year. I do really want to read it. It sounds very interesting. This is another indie book. And the next is Quest Septimus Heat. I started the series a while ago. It is a reread from my childhood. But yeah, this is just a series I want to continue. This is book 4 in that series. I believe all of the other reviews should be on this channel. But yeah, it was a series I enjoyed, so I'd like to keep it pushing. Next prompt is a retelling. A Blade So Black. I believe this is also an indie book. And I came across this one because they were actually looking for arcs for the 3rd book in the series, and they're like, oh, you can get books 1 and 2 for free if you review book 3. I was like, I'm not going to be able to finish 3 books in the month that you're looking for. I can't do it. I would love these books. I would love them for free, but we can't do it. I know I'm not going to be able to accomplish what you need. But A Blade So Black, A Blade So Black and A Black Alice in Wonderland retelling sounds super cool. Next is Unwieldy Creatures, which is a queer, specifically trans, Frankenstein retelling. This one has also been on my radar for a hot minute, and I'm very excited to read. Also, the colors of this cover, my heart adores them. Moving on. Did I not do this? What? What's going on? What? Did I duplicate this on accident? That's not supposed to say retelling. I don't remember what that's supposed to say, but that's not supposed to say retelling. The books on the prompt are She is a Haunting by Trang Tan Tran. This author wrote something for Night of the Living Queers, and I was obsessed with it. And so we're going to risk reading some horror just so I can read this book, because I'm sure the writing is phenomenal. Next is Everyone's Thinking It. What the fuck was the prompt? I forgot. If you want to know, I did do a live stream on my vlog channel just running through all of this stuff, so maybe you can figure out what this was supposed to be. I want to is it young adults? Is it something with page count? We'll never know. I'll never know. But this one I have the audiobook for, and I've been dying to read this book as well. Next prompt is Orange on the Cover. We've got Glittering Kindling. This I've had for a hot minute. I don't remember if I got it for free or if I got it on a sale, but it is another indie fantasy. And Bad Witch Burning. I'm obsessed with Monstrous by Jessica Lewis, so I'm so excited. I read the description of this book and it sounds amazing, so I would love to get around to this. Also, I have a signed copy of the book and I want to cry. I'm so happy. I have a signed copy of Bad Witch Burning and Monstrous, and it makes me so happy. Next, an author I've never read before, Gimmicks and Glamour, which is a queer autistic story, queer black autistic story. So we love that. I've been wanting to read that for a while. Siren's Call. I'm actually really, I need to just read some Jessica Cage. She seems like such a big indie author and a big black indie author, and I've read nothing from her. I have several things. I have Siren's Call. I have, I think I have 2 other books from her. One of which was from a like big black indie fantasy collection I got, and the other was, I think, like a free book when you sign up for like newsletters, stuff like that. But I need to go ahead and read some Jessica Cage. I need to do it. I just need to do it. And finally, for June, because I feel like when we did the Book Out Cookout, I did not have a ton of black queer books on there, and part of that is because the prompts I was using for the Book Out Cookout like were really hard to like slot something into, especially when trying to prioritize things I already owned. You're like taking a pool and then making it so narrow that it got really hard to include a lot of black queer books. But so we're just gonna do June, focus on black queer books, and the only prompt is black queer books. That's it. So if you've seen this little flag around the rest of my TBR, that is just a sign that it would also fit under black queer books for June, mostly for me. It's just so I know. But we've got quite a slew, just 8 books. Ooh. Oh. We've got The Battle Drum, which I need to read. I adored The Final Strife ages ago when I read it, and I pre-ordered The Battle Drum, and I've also pre-ordered book 3 because I know this author's not going to let me down. I just need to do it. I just need to read the book. The Queen of the Banished. I read a short story by Tuesday Harper and I loved it, so I really want to see what she does with a full-length novel, and I'm very excited. In the House of Transcendence, this is another book that I've had around for a hot minute. I wasn't sure if it was queer or not, which is part of like why I haven't picked it up, because I've done like things where I wanted to focus on like queer books, but I wasn't sure if this was queer or not, so I actually just sat down and like looked it up this time around, and it is. So we are going to be checking this one out, hopefully, but it is very much something on the TBR, very much something on the radar. The Scourge Between Stars, this is the other horror that I've heard about that actually seems like I'm actually very, very interested in reading. It's also not terribly long, so I would only have to deal with like 200 pages of nightmares. Worst case scenario, we're fine. Next, Pet by Akweke Meze. We'll see which one of these books I get to first, this or Content Warning Everything. Splinter by Jasper Hyde. This author has a different pen name, I know, and I believe I have a romance by the other pen name, but the retelling just sounded super interesting, so I wanted to maybe check that one out if I can find it at a library. I know one library has it, but hopefully they still have it by the time I might get around to it. Can we... Cinderella. This is a trans Cinderella retelling that I do have. And Dead Girls, which I do really like me a murder mystery, so we would like to maybe check that out, maybe pick that out. Okay, so let's reflect on the books that I have selected here. So let's look at how many of them are, like, I own. Should I include the things I'm continuing? Sure, we will. I Babel, African American poetry. So all 4 of the ones I'm continuing, I own. I own Godzilla and Tell Me How It Ends, House of Badui, Anna and Carol, Shaking Things, Pierced by Horn, Starseer, Quest. I like half own Everybody's Thinking of It. I have the audiobook, but I'm gonna need the ebook. I guess that counts as not owning it. Because I could not read it without a like something to visually look at. Bad Witch Burning, Siren's Call, The Battle Drum. Oh, the Battle Drum. Queen of the Banished, House of Transcendence, Cinderella. So I own 14 of the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 28, 32. I own 14 of 32 books. That's not terrible. That's not a terrible balance. How many of them are indie? So we've got Diana Flowers, Tell Me How It Ends, House of Badui, Anna and Carol, Pierced by Horn, Starseer, Blade So Black, Glitter and Kindling, Gimmicks and Glamour, Siren's Call, Queen of the Banished, House of Transcendence, Splinter, Cinderella. 14 again. So we're doing it. We are in the mix. We're making intentional decisions with our reading. At the moment, I do have a bit of a, like, this is my reading plan. This is the order we're going to be going into. It's obnoxiously, like, obsessive, specifically because of my brain, honestly. So my reading plans now, because I am reading multiple books at once, mostly because I feel slightly less locked into something. I feel slightly less stifled and suffocated when I can do that. So right now I'm reading Babel, the African American poetry book, Diana Flowers, and we're like picking at decolonizing therapy, but I wouldn't count that as like something I'm actively in the middle of really right now. So we're going to read those 3. Then after I finish Diana Flowers, if I finish it before I finish Babel, then I'll replace that with House of Badui. After African American poetry is going to be Pierced by Horn. After Babel, we're gonna like put House of Badui as my like primary book, and then we are going to put together like a session of really focusing and putting like intentionality behind reading decolonizing therapy. Then after House of Badui, depending on the time, I don't know how long it'll take me to do all of this, but if it's around June by the time we finish that like trio, that section of things, then I'm probably going to, I think my goal is going to be to always be reading a relatively 200, maybe 300 page book, a poetry book, nonfiction, and a tome. And those will be like 4 things that I'll basically always have on working on. And so after I finish that trio, I might not finish decolonizing therapy, but I might take a break for it instead. I'll go with Queen of the Banished. I have a book called Poetry is Spell Casting. It's not on here, but it is part of my 5-star book draft. I have a nonfiction book that I'm going to be, it's complicated. Book that I would probably list it more into mythology, but it's complicated, that I'll be reading for some book research, and then the Battle Drum will be my tome of the period, and we're probably just going to keep kind of that kind of rotation of 4 books at a time going. But that is the plan. That is my TBR. That is the springtime. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've read these books and you have feelings. Also, if you have your own TBR that you're looking to add some books onto, I do write books. We've got the Queen of Thieves series here, and we've got Imani and Aaliyah's Fashion Bible. These two we've got about 4 books in this series, and then this is my debut romance and my debut new adult book. It's been a fun time. Let me know. Links are down below for those things. Read them, enjoy them, let me know how much you love them. But otherwise, that is all from me for right now. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, Valedictions, friends.